Hey everybody, how's it going? Thank you so much for clicking on the video. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. So in the last video, I went over some techniques on some flasher fly storage. Sorry, I'm still getting over that sinus infection that I had in the last video. If you haven't watched that yet, I'll put a link right up here. Check it out. It's a pretty good video. Give you some ideas. But I talked about some of the next videos that we're going to be, or some of the videos we'll be doing in the future. Spoons, flasher fly, meat rigs, and plugs, and generally how to fish them and general info for each of those techniques. I asked you guys to pick which one you wanted first. I put a poll up and you guys picked spoons. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about spoons, how to fish them, color selection, maybe some storage options as well. So stick around. It's going to be a good time. So again, thanks for being here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks to all the new subscribers that have jumped on board. And that leads me to one thing I want to talk about real quick. So this channel's getting a bit bigger. We're up to almost 600 subscribers, and I know in the YouTube realm that's really nothing. But if you think about it, 600 people is still that's quite a few people relatively. So I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for being here. Tuning in, coming along for the journey. I'd like to see this turn into a really positive fishing community, filled with anglers and fishermen, fisherwomen alike that want to come on here, learn some things, but I also want you guys and gals to share what you know. Even if you're brand new to fishing, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to leave a comment down below. I'd like to see this thing just turn into a really strong community where people know that they come here, nobody's going to berate them, nobody's going to judge them, there's not going to be anything negative said, and we're going to just keep going from there. We have had a couple negative comments in the past, and I quickly got a hold of them and got rid of them. We don't want that here. You're never going to hear us swear on the videos. This is going to be kid friendly. If you want to bring your kids in and watch the videos, you're never going to hear us swear. You're never going to hear us judge other people. I wrote an article for Big John Sports. It's on their website, bigjohnsports.com, and it's under their reel section. It's an article called Was I Discouraged? And I talk a little bit about how as fishermen we can be so judgmental to other fishermen. We can be so quick to say, well, that guy, he didn't catch fish, or he doesn't catch fish, or he's inept, or you know what I mean. I don't need to get into more detail. So far on this channel, it's been nothing but positivity. I appreciate that. I truly do. So don't be afraid. Jump on board. Let's build this thing up. Let's make this a place where you can come, you can learn things, and especially you can share. You can share in the comment section where people can watch the video, jump in the comment section, and learn even more. So thank you for doing that. Thank you very much. A couple new subscribers I want to give a shout out to. I never say shout out. I don't know why I did. But I just want to throw these names out there. Thanks for subscribing. You guys just jumped on board in the last few days. There's just a couple of the many. Chad Tomei, Stephen Smith, Isaac Waldorf, Alon Richard, Woodshed, and Darren Crump. Thanks to every one of you, and thanks to all the other new subs too. Anyway, let's get into the spoon thing. Okay, so let's talk about spoons, shall we? I know you can't see my face. Maybe that's a good thing. Anyway, let's start off with this. If you do go on the Big John website and read that article that I wrote, I would really appreciate any kind of feedback that you want to leave down in the comments section. If you liked it, you didn't like it, I'm always looking for feedback, constructive criticism. You can't get better if you don't know what people think about things. So thank you if you do that. But let's talk about spoons. First off, what is a trolling spoon? It's essentially just what the name says. It's a spoon that's used for trolling. And by trolling, I mean that it's attached to some type of line on the boat, whether it be lead core, copper, dipsy diver, downrigger, and it's pulled by the boat through the water. And the boat pulling it through the water imparts some type of action onto that spoon, a wiggle, a wobble, a flutter of some type, which entices the fish to bite. Now, why is it called a spoon? I'm no expert, but it looks like a spoon to me. So I'm not sure if that's exactly why it's called a spoon, but I'm going to guess that has something to do with it. If you know, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd be really happy to understand maybe the history why it is called a spoon. So that's really it. That is what a spoon is, a trolling spoon. And let's get into some more in-depth things on how we use them here on the Great Lakes. Okay, so let's talk about sizes. Let's talk about the most common sizes that you're going to see here on the Great Lakes. Now, some of the lure manufacturers, the spoon manufacturers, they'll use different names for their spoons and their different sizes. But really, it boils down to small and big, or standard and magnum is what most of them call the spoon sizes. Some companies like Dreamweaver, and Dreamweaver is the #1 spoon that we use on our boat, and the reason being is it puts fish in the boat year after year after year. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, if it ain't broke, I ain't going to fix it. And Dreamweaver is not broke, so I'm not fixing it. Dreamweaver gives you really 3 options for salmon fishing. And so other manufacturers do this as well. What Dreamweaver gives you is a super slim. And that's a super slim in about, that's in the super bread pattern. That's a great spoon. Super slims are about 3.5 inches long. Then you got your standard, and there's a standard in the Blue Dolphin. The standard's just a little longer than the super slim and a little bit wider as well. And then you got your magnum, and there's a Dreamweaver mixed veggie in a magnum. Magnum's going to be wider yet, and it's about 4.5 inches long. So that's your 3 basic spoon sizes. Like I said, other companies are going to give you 2 options, and it's going to be standard or mag typically. These moonshines here, this is their standard. It's about the same size as the standard Dreamweaver. I gotta look at it. I think that's the Mongolian beef. It's that or the dancing anchovy. So that's your standard, and then the Magnum moonshines are going to be about the same size as the other Magnums as well, and that's raspberry carbon, another great spoon. Other companies like Stinger, they'll call them. Their smaller spoons are called Stinger. Their bigger spoons are called Stingrays. There's a few other ones that use other names as well, but that's really the sizing in a nutshell. It's going to be standard or it's going to be Magnum, and if it's a little bit smaller than the standard, it's going to have a different name, like the Super Slim, like I said, for Dreamweaver. Okay, so let's talk about when you're going to fish certain size spoons. And as in all fishing, there is no rule book for this. I'm going to give you general guidelines. Everything that I talk about here on this video is just going to be general guidelines because there's no set rules when it comes to fishing. I can tell you this, on our boat, and I know quite a few other boats, the only spoon that they fish are the mags or the super slims. On our boat, all year round, are super slims. Except for a little bit later in the year, we'll run some of the mags, and I'll talk about that here in a second. In a second. But that's really what we run all year, super slims or the standards. But it's almost primarily the slims. One thing you can do is when you go out fishing and you get some fish, when you bring them back to the cleaning table and you open them up, you can look in the belly and you can see what size the forage fish is. You can see the alewives in the belly. Most typically what you're going to see are going to be about that size. It's going to be a little bit on the smaller size or maybe the standard size. Later in the year or even other times of the year, you might see some bigger alewives in the bellies. You may want to go with a mag spoon if you're seeing that. That just makes sense. So match the hatch. If you've never heard that saying before, match the hatch, you're trying to match what they're feeding on to what you're fishing with. It's that simple. It doesn't make any sense if they're feeding on 3-inch alewives to go out there and run a 4.5-inch mag spoon. They're probably not going to hit it. Now, one thing we will say about mag spoons when they really do shine is later in the year when the fish are trying to bulk up, they're trying to put that weight on for that fall run up the river. We do run a little bit more on the mag spoons, so think about that as well. They're looking for that bigger snack, like I said, put that weight on. So one other thing I'll tell you about the mags, one method we do use throughout the year, and this, like I said, throughout the year, not just in the fall, is a lot of times on our riggers, we'll run, we'll run the mag on the main line on the rigger, and then above it, we'll run the same color pattern. So if I'm running this mixed veggie on my main line on my downrigger, above it on a free slider or a fixed slider, I'll run a super slim or a standard size spoon on a, like I said, on a free slider or a fixed slider. Gives that fish two different looks. Same color, but two different sizes. And that fish is going to be able to choose which one he wants. So that's really sizing in a nutshell. Like I said, go through, look through your stores, get an idea on the sizing. You'll see the different names for them. Once you get it figured out, it's really easy to recognize. So let's talk about fishing methods for spoons. Here on the Great Lakes, and I can't say for the Pacific Northwest, although I'm sure a lot, Pacific Northwest, Canada, anywhere else you're fishing salmon, trout, I'm sure a lot of the methods are very similar. But I'm talking here on the Great Lakes. And this is where I'd love to see some other comments in the comment section. Talk about your methods. But for here in the Great Lakes, it's going to be downriggers, lead core, and copper line are going to be your three biggest presentations for your spoons. They can be fished off divers. Still getting that sinus infection to clear up. They can be fished off divers, but primarily the way you're going to see them fished off divers are off slide divers. So you can, and if you don't know what a slide diver is, we'll cover that in a later video. But a slide diver, you can vary your leader, so you can have a longer presentation, a more stealthy presentation away from the boat. And that's when we really like to fish our spoons, is on slide divers, so you can get them further back away from the boat. Obviously, lead core and copper, those are fixed sizes. They're going to be at a certain depth, and that's up to you what length of leader you run on your coppers and your cores. We run 50-foot leaders on our coppers and cores. So as they get frayed or nicked or whatnot, we can trim it back. When it gets all the way back to 20 feet, we take them off, put a new leader on. Spoons on riggers, talked about that a little bit already. One method that I learned a long time ago, and it works pretty well. It's, like I said, it's not set in stone, but it works pretty well for setting your leader length on downriggers. It's called the 100-foot rule, which means you always want 100 feet. And to explain that, so say I'm fishing 50 feet of water. Say I'm fishing my downrigger down 50 feet. That means I'm going to put my spoon back off that downrigger ball 50 feet. 50 plus 50 equals 100. If I'm fishing 20 feet of water, I'm going to put my spoon back 80 feet. 80 plus 20 equals 100. If I'm fishing 80 feet of water, I'm going to put my spoon back 20 feet. 80 plus 20 obviously equals 100. We covered that. But that's the 100-foot rule, and it's a great starting point, a great general rule of thumb on how to figure out your leads on your spoons off your downriggers. So just some things to think about. Okay, so another topic that I hear talked about quite a bit is glow versus non-glow spoons. Now again, these are general terms. I'm not going to tell you one thing and it's going to work every single day. It's just, that's not the way it is when you're fishing. I'm sure you all know that. But typically your glow spoons, like your Moonshines, Dreamweaver makes some excellent glow spoons as well. That Superbred's a glow, many others. But your glow spoons are going to be used primarily early in the morning before first light, or maybe through that first hour of light. That's when your glow spoons are really going to work well for you. I'm not saying that glow spoons can't be used throughout the entire day and still catch fish. I know we've ran that raspberry carbon before, well past sunup, and we've still caught fish. Some spoons just, they just fish well still into the daylight. But your glow spoons, before daylight, first hour into daylight, and then also as evening approaches, we start changing over to glow spoons about a half hour to an hour before dark, and then we'll fish those obviously into the evening as it gets darker and darker and darker. That's when your glow spoons are really going to shine. Pardon the pun, but they're really going to shine for you. And like I said, doesn't mean that they can't work during the day. but typically that's when you're going to want to use them. Okay, so let's talk about color selection. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is probably where you really want to listen, pay attention. So this is the formula for figuring out the exact spoon for the exact day. Guess what? There isn't one. There is absolutely no formula for figuring out the exact right spoon for the exact right day. You know, when I first started fishing and meeting all the charter guys around here, that was the question I asked everybody the most. How do you know what color to run? And that's one of the questions I get asked the most now. How do you know what color to run? There is no way, there's no formula that I could give you that it is Tuesday and it's 4 p.m. and the sun is at a 58-degree angle, it's 72 degrees outside, the humidity is such and such, you need to run that Blue Dolphin glow spoon. There's just no formula for that. There is some old sayings that do work to an extent. Bright days, bright lures. Dark days, dark lures. And that does work. But it's not going to be the end-all, be-all for figuring out which spoons to run. On our boat, I'll tell you this. On our boat, we have about a dozen spoons that we absolutely trust. We trust them because they've caught fish after fish after fish. We know the colors work, we know the patterns work, and we put our trust in them. So we run those spoons day after day after day. If they're not working, we're not afraid to yank them out and put something else on, though. We're constantly changing things up to find what the fish want. Some days we'll run all dark lures on one side and all shiny, bright UV or RV lures on the other side until we figure out what the fish want, and then we adjust accordingly. That's another great technique you can use. You can get a hold of the local tackle shops, the local charter boats, the websites for the area. Kind of figure out what's been hot, what's been working. Talk to people at the tackle shops. People will come in here and talk to me. I'll tell them exactly what's been working for us and how we've been fishing them. That's some of the best advice that I can give you when it comes to spoon color selection. Don't be afraid to go with standbys, tried and trues, put them out there, but don't be afraid to yank them out if they're not working. And try those experimentation. Try dark lures on one side and super brights on the other side. See what the fish want. Because I'm telling you, I wish there was an absolute formula that I could give you that would give you the right spoon for the right day, but there isn't. The best advice I can give you is just try and experiment. Stick with the tried and trues and experiment on top of that until you figure out what day or what they want for that particular day. Okay, so let's talk about storage options for spoons. This is a special mate, goofy name. I don't know whoever came up with the name for it, but it truly is called Special Mate. You can see it right there on the lid. Special Mate Spoon Box. I don't know, a goofy name to me, but great product. This is what we use for storing our spoons. You can see inside this spoon box there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 rows of spoons that you can hang on. I think there's 20 cutouts in each of the row that you can put your spoons on. So they just lay in those slots. And when you need a spoon, you can go to that, you can flip them through. The spoons don't fall out. They stay pretty secure in these things, and it's a great way to store your spoons. We have 2 of these boxes full of spoons, and we got more spoons probably to fill up another 2 boxes. But this is our preferred way to store our spoons, keep them where we can access them. They do stack pretty well on top of one another. They have this rib system up here that you can see, so when they stack, they interlock some up. Sorry it's a little dirty, it's been out in my storage. But this is what we use on our boat for our spoons. Great way. Be careful when you're running in rough weather. Put these things down on the deck, put them on a flat surface where they're not going to fall and tip over. because many times I've learned the hard way, when these things flip over, you've got a whole lot of reorganizing that you need to do. That's a great way to store your spoons. Okay, to wrap this thing up, I'm going to go over some of the hot lures that we use on our boat. And by hot lures, I mean that these are the spoons, some of the spoons, not all of them, but some of the spoons that we run day in and day out, and they consistently catch fish. So I'll go over each one, the manufacturer, and if you don't have these in your box, I would recommend that you think about getting them. So number one, this has been our best spoon for years now. I put this on other videos. I've even said this around the shop, and maybe I shouldn't have because they've been selling out like crazy here. This is the Dreamweaver Glow Frog in Super Slim, and it's the one with the white back. And this thing always puts fish in our boat. I shouldn't say always, but most days puts fish in our boat. Great spoon. Dreamweaver Blue Dolphin. Dreamweaver Modified Blue Dolphin. Dreamweaver Blue Dolphin Glow, great spoon. Dreamweaver Magic Man. This is a great salmon spoon on top of being a great steelhead spoon, especially offshore. Dreamweaver Mixed Veggie. And some of these are in Super Slim, some of these are in Standard. It's really your choice what you want to get. Excuse me. Dreamweaver Spotted Magic Man, just like the Magic Man but with spots. That's been really a really good spoon last couple of years. Last year, what I'm thinking. The Dreamweaver Green Jeans. This is a great glow spoon, early morning towards evening spoon. And the Dreamweaver Natural Born Killer, NBK. Another great spoon. So that's just a really good starting point. I don't have the blue jeans here, the green jeans, or I'm sorry, the Dreamweaver blue jeans. It's real similar to that. Another really great spoon. I thought I was missing another one, but anyway, that's a really good starting point for just a good spoon spread. So now let's talk about a couple really good steelhead spoons. These are some of the ones that we use for steelhead. So probably the all-time great, the Double Orange Crush, Dreamweaver and a Super Slim. Probably the best steelhead spoon of all time. Last couple of years, this spoon has really taken off. It's the Dreamweaver Naked Jordo. J-O-R-D-O. Really, really good spoon. This is the Dreamweaver Buffalo Bill. It's got a nice orange back to it. And this is the Riverside or Reverse Riverside. Either the Riverside or the Reverse Riverside are excellent steelhead spoons. That's amazing. In that viewfinder, that looks more orange. Where here it looks more like a, I don't know, more like a blazer. I don't know. Just different things on the camera. So here's some spoons that kind of fit that in-between bill. It's glow. They're glow as well as having some really good UV or RV properties. When I say RV, that's what Moonshine calls their UV spoons. I don't know what the RV stands for, but that's just what they call it. So it's really the same thing as the ultraviolet. So one of our best spoons the last couple of years, the Moonshine Dancing Anchovy, the Silver Flounder, and these are, like I said, these are all glow / UV property spoons. So they can be used, you know, mornings, evenings, and throughout the day as well. The Bad Toad, that was a really hot spoon last year. The Dreamweaver UV green jeans. The Dreamweaver Superbread. That's been a great spoon. And that is the Moonshine Five Eyes. And I think that one just came out last year. See if I can get that to focus a little bit better. Yeah, that one, I think it just came out last year. That was a great spoon. So that gives you some ideas maybe on those hybrid spoons that you can run for glow and during the day. And then some examples of some really good glow spoons. Probably the #1 glow spoon that I've seen in quite a while. The Moonshine Flounder Pounder. That thing is just a lights out glow spoon right there for salmon. The Cyclonite Moonshine, the Glow Dancing Anchovy, the Carbon 14, and that's got a complete glow back. The two carbons, one's a silver carbon and one's a raspberry carbon. Great spoons, again all glow backs, and has some nice flash up front. We run these not only early morning, but we'll keep those out into the later morning as well with our Dreamweaver spoons. They're just really good spoons. And then the Dreamweaver Green-Eyed Glow Ghost, I believe that is called. That's always been a great spoon. So just gives you an idea, maybe a starting point, some of the spoons that we use on our boat. Maybe something you want to take a look at on some of these manufacturers' websites. Throw some of these in your box. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up right there. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell me what you want to see next. I've got flasher fly, meat rigs, and plugs yet to cover. I'll put a poll up right here, and we'll continue on with our fundamental fishing series, trying to get you guys as much information as we can to help you out there on the water. Leave a comment. I'm sure that I skipped over some of your guys and gals' favorite spoons. I have no doubt. Leave a comment below. What spoon do you like? What's your go-to spoons? If you could only have two, what would you fish? Something like that. Let us know. That'd be fun to see. All right. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Enjoy your spoons.